All right, let's get started. So good morning again, and welcome to GS182, which is your introductory biology course. My name is Vincent Wong, and I'll be your teacher for the semester. You can just call me Vincent if you want. You can also call me Sir or Mr. Wong, whatever you feel comfortable. That would be fine. And so today is just a short orientation that we're gonna have. Where I'm going to show you where to find things online and tell you a little bit about what to expect for the course. It's only going to be about half an hour, I'd say. And then at the end, we will have time for questions if there are things that you want to ask and I have not covered them. Okay, but do feel free to interrupt me, during the orientation. If you have questions, you can ask question by typing it in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question directly. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, thank you for being on time. I see that a lot of you are here. Almost the entire class is here, so that is very good. So once again, my name is Vincent Wong, and you can always contact me through this email. Okay, so I'm just gonna type it out here, and you can copy it if you want. But I also sent out some broadcast email last week. I think I sent it out on Monday, and then I sent another one on Friday because some of you joined later and did not get that first email. So that email address is a little bit different than this one. Both works fine. Okay. I reply email quite quickly. If it's during the day, I usually reply you within sometimes minutes, within minutes that you send the email, I'll be replying you right away. And usually, like if I get an email and I don't reply you after 24 hours or something, that means I did not get your email. Okay, sometimes maybe people send it to the wrong person, or it just didn't get through. Okay, so if you send me something and you don't hear back from me for more than 24 hours, just send the email again, because I will never ignore your email. Okay, I'll always reply to you. Okay, so that's the address you can reach me in. Sometimes you might be able to find like an extension to reach me on some college directory. Don't call me. Okay, it's much faster to just email me. Okay, if you call me, I'm not on campus, right? As you know, we're all doing this remotely. I won't have access to my college phone, so just email me. That's the best way to reach me. Okay, so let's take a look at the course itself. Okay, so the course is, like I said, introductory biology. You might have done biology before. You might have done it in high school. Some of you might be out of school for some time and haven't touched science for some time. That's okay. Okay, I am going to assume that all of you don't have any biology background. I'm going to start from the very basic stuff and go from there. Okay, so if you are a little bit rusty on bio, or you have never taken bio, do not worry. Okay, I am just going to do it in a very, very simple way. So the course is broken down into two parts. Okay, so we have the first half. Okay, first half of the course, which is going to be lecture 1 to lecture 5. Okay, and we will talk about things like the scientific method, macromolecules, cellular structure, transport, and metabolism. Okay, so all this stuff is in the course outline, and I'll show you where to find it in a bit. But I want to tell you in terms of what's expected in the first half and the second half. So like I said, 5 lectures, right? And then we're going to have 2 quizzes. Okay, so quiz number 1 will be on lecture 1 and lecture 2, and that's going to be 10% of your final grade. Quiz number 2 is going to be lecture 3 and lecture 4, and again, that's going to be 10% of your grade. And then we're going to have a lab as well. Okay, so the lab is going to be on membrane. Okay, your first lab, it's going to be membrane permeability. Okay. And that is going to be 10%. Now, some people ask me, do we have to go to the campus for lab? The answer is no. Okay, everything in this course is going to be done virtually, including the labs. So I'll show you how the lab is done, and you know, how are we going to hand it in and stuff like that in a bit. But the important thing is you can do it at home. Okay, it's like a simulation. It's not really the real thing. But that's the best we could do for now. Okay, so that's going to be like 30%, and then you're gonna have a test number 1, which is going to be all these things. So lecture 1 to lecture 5 plus the lab, and that's going to be 20%. Okay, and then that will be the first half. The second half is pretty much the same format. Okay, I'm just gonna do it in red. So second half. By the way, all these things I'm telling you is recorded, and I'll post a link online later on in case you missed anything or you want to, you know, revisit some of the things I said. You will have access to the recordings. Second half is lecture 6 to lecture 10. So then we're gonna go into more of the molecular biologies. So things like genetics. We're gonna do some genetics problems. For example, if the father has blue eyes and the mother has brown eyes, what's the probability that their child is going to have blue eyes? You might be familiar with some of those problems, and that's what we'll be looking at. We'll be learning meiosis, mitosis, some biotechnology, and then the last lecture is going to be on tissues, okay, which is a nice transition to your second semester biology. Okay, second semester biology, which is a course that I develop and also teach, is more about the human bodies. Okay, we call that the anatomy and physiology course. So at the end of this course, we will have a lesson that kind of bridge what you've learned from this course to the next course. Okay, so in the second half, you will have the same format. You're gonna have quiz number 3. Which is lecture 3 to 4, another 10%. Sorry, not 3 and 4. I mean 6 and 7. And then 8 to 9. And then you will have another lab. And this one is on microscopy. Obviously, like, you're not going to be able to handle like a physical microscope, and that is quite unfortunate. But we will once again be doing a simulation, and that's another 10%. And then test number 2 is going to be lecture 6 to lecture 10 plus the lab. Okay, so another 50%. That's what going to be your assessment breakdown. Does anybody have any question before I move on? Okay, excellent. So let's see where we're gonna get the course material. Okay, so we're gonna go to our course homepage. So Sarah asked in the chat, do we have an exam? No, the test is the exam. Okay, and I forgot to mention that it's not cumulative. Okay, so after the first half, these things you will not be tested on again. Okay, the second half is only on the 6 to 10. Okay, so after the first half, you can kind of forget about the materials. Okay, so no final exam. The final test is test number 2. Okay, so you guys are section 202. Is actually important when you email me to let me know which class you're from, because I also teach like second semester and some other courses. So I wouldn't know which section and which class you're from. So when you email me, tell me your name, include your student number, and tell me which section you're from. Okay, so again, you are section 202, okay, from biology 1. So you got the email from me, hopefully that you've read it, and that's the primary way of how I communicate with students. I send out email, and usually I would post important stuff on eCentennial as well. So let me just do a quick poll. Have you had a chance to visit the eCentennial homepage yet? If you have done so, please choose A. If you have not had a chance, please choose B. Okay, the question is, have you visited the course homepage yet? The eCentennial homepage. So while people are doing the poll, I just want to let you know that at Centennial, we have two kind of main platforms. We have eCentennial and we have My Centennial. Okay, so eCentennial is where all your teachers or your professors are going to be posting their lecture material. And that's where you check your grades, do your tests, so on and so forth. And the My Centennial, that's where you manage things like finding your class schedule, paying for your fees, that kind of stuff. Okay, so the two are kind of separate platform. Okay, so I see that a majority of you have had a chance to visit the homepage, which is excellent. If you haven't already done so, please do it as early as possible. Okay, so to get there, check the email I sent you. And if you didn't get that email, send me an email telling me that you haven't received that information, and I'll resend it out to you. Okay, but once you get to it, you will see the news items. Okay, so I post news items at the beginning, at the end, as well as the end of the week. So I'll tell you what you need to do for that week, and then at the end of the week, like usually Wednesday or Thursday, because that's when we had our second class. I will post some debriefing items. So check here regularly. Okay. So all of you have the Zoom link already. This is the same link that we'll be using for the entire semester. Okay. So every Wednesday, when we have our synchronous session, you will click on this. Sometimes you need a passcode, sometimes you don't, depending on what location you're logging on from or what device you're using. Okay, so just keep this link in a safe place and use it often. Okay, everything for the course is already posted online, and you can access all of the contents from the Content tab. So you can click on Content. I'll try to go slow here, but if you're not able to remember everything, remember this is recorded, and you will have access to the recordings after class. Okay, so if you go to useful information, there are only 3 tabs here right now. There's the lectures. You can think of them as folders. Okay, so there is a lecture folder, virtual lab folder, and useful information. Okay, so the first thing you should do when you come here after class is to go to the weekly schedule. Okay, weekly schedule under useful information. So if you click on that, I'm just going to open a copy that I have on my computer. It's bigger, it's easier for you to see. So when you click on it, you will see it. Okay, and then this is the schedule that we are going to be following for the semester. Okay, so today we are doing the orientation, and then Wednesday we'll be doing a synchronous tutorial. Okay, so in your class schedule, okay, the one that you got from My Centennial, you will see that we meet twice a week, right? You will see the course show up twice a week, once on Monday and once on Wednesday. Okay, so what we are going to be doing is every Monday you are going to be doing asynchronous learning. Okay, which means you don't have to come onto Zoom. Okay, you don't have to attend any virtual session like you are attending right now. Okay, the Monday class is for you to do learning on your own. Okay, so where do you find the learning materials? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the course homepage. Okay, and you want to go to lecture. You want to go to lecture. Okay, so you see that these are all the lectures, right? For the course, there are 10 lectures in total, right? So this week we are doing scientific method. You can click on that. Okay, and there is a subfolder within each of these. Okay, so the lecture recordings. You want to download the PowerPoint slides. Okay, I'm going to click on it to show you what it looks like. Okay, so that's the PowerPoint slides, and you can download it with the download button here. Okay, and then it goes into your desktop. And so I would recommend printing the lecture slides if you have a printer. If not, I guess having it on your computer is fine. But you would need to have you will need to have the PowerPoints when you watch the lecture recordings. Okay, so I'm just going to click back here. And here are the lecture recordings. Okay, so you will click on it. And then you will click play. Okay, it's basically me recording myself, right? And I go through the slides with you. I'm not going to play it now. You can watch it later. Okay, I try to keep each part under half an hour. The first lecture is fairly short. Okay, so you probably will be able to watch all of it, you know, within 2 hours. And so that's what you have to do. Now, you know, we have been online for almost 2 years now, and what I noticed is a lot of people don't really watch the recordings at all, and they just kind of, you know, come to the tutorial without preparing, and that's not really a good thing to do. Okay, in order to succeed in the course, you really do have to watch the recordings. The advantage of the recordings is, you know, like I said, some of you might have done biology, you know, in high school, and you're coming straight from high school, and some of the stuff you kind of remember already. So with the recording, you have the option of skipping forward, right? So for concepts that you are very familiar with, you know, feel free to skip forward. But I do want you to watch the recordings. Okay, so there are 3 parts here: part 1, part 2, part 3. Okay, so sometimes the recording will also go through some of the questions in the study guide. You can see all these things that are in blue. They are hyperlinks. If you click on it, it will take you to that file. Okay, so if I click on the scientific method study guide, it will take you to this. And again, you can download it and print it. Okay, so I know some of you don't have a printer. That's okay. You can copy this in your notebook and do it that way as well. Okay, so let me go back to the scientific method folder here. Now, before I continue, I know I said a lot of stuff up to this point. Does anybody have any questions before I tell you more stuff? Again, you can type the question in the chat box anytime, or you can unmute and ask. Okay. All right, so that was the lecture recordings. And I also recommend that if you have time at the beginning of the semester, feel free to progress at your own pace. Okay, if you finish the recording for week 1 and you know, at the beginning of the semester you're not as busy, feel free to watch the recordings for lecture 2. Okay, the entire course is posted online. Okay, so it gets quite busy as the semester progresses, especially with you know, tests coming usually around the same week, right, for all your courses. So it might be advantageous to get a head start if you need to. Okay. So another thing is study resources. If you click on study resources, there is the study guide. Okay. So you should attempt the study guide after watching the lecture recordings. And like I said, sometimes I would do some questions in the recordings that are in the study guides, so you can fill it in along the way. But do attempt these questions, and then I will be taking it up with you on Wednesday. Okay, so if you look at the schedule, right, that's what the synchronous tutorial is for. Okay, so this Wednesday, I will be basically taking up this. Okay, but in order for you to understand what I'm talking about, you would need to watch the recordings. Okay, so ideally, after we hang up today on the orientation, you will go watch your recordings, and then you will do the sheet on Tuesday maybe, and then come Wednesday, we will take it up. We will also be doing like practice questions on during the tutorial. So we will do some questions that are similar to what you will see on the quiz or on the test. That way you will be prepared. Okay, most of them are going to be done through polls, so you will be able to participate a little bit. Okay, let's see what other study resources there are. Okay, so there is the study guide. There are a lot of video resources. Let me see if it will load. Sometimes it takes some time to load. Oh, there it is. Okay, so these are just collections of videos that I found online that are related to what we are learning. So sometimes you might find that I'm not explaining something too clearly, and you want a different perspective from on the topics or something. Then you can watch these videos. Okay. However, sometimes, as with a lot of online resources, they cover maybe more than what you need to know. So anything that you watch in these videos, you are not responsible for in terms of tests and quizzes. Okay. All you need to study for is everything that's in the PowerPoints, in the lecture recordings, as well as the tutorial. Okay. So Sandra has a question. Are you gonna give marks on the lecture? What do you mean by that? Like, do you mean, is there like participation marks for coming to, for watching the recordings, or please clarify the question and I'll respond to it. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so there's no marks. Like you watch the lecture recordings because you need to learn, right? Not because I'm gonna be giving you marks for it. Okay. But I would know who watched the video, though. I have access to that information. So for example, right, like this is very common. It happens all the time. When students come to me after the test and they're like, I didn't do well. Can I have an extra assignment to boost the marks? I don't give out extra assignments to boost grades. And then I usually will look at that student's viewing history, right? I would maybe tell them, oh, I noticed that you haven't really been watching the video recordings. So maybe that's why you didn't do well on the test, right? Okay. So again, you can't just like wing the test or wing the quiz, right? So to speak. You must watch the recordings, come to tutorial. And it's very important to come to tutorial, okay, I have to say. Because right now the attendance is amazing, okay? We have 35 people in the class and we have 34 people here. So I'm very happy that all of you made the effort to come, okay? But usually as the semester goes on, then people start to get, I don't know, life gets busy, right? I guess a lot of you might have a job, you might have kids to take care of, and then they don't come, right? And then, the attendance starts to slide till maybe 10 people come, 8 people come, and that's not good, okay? Make a commitment, okay? Sometimes people think online learning is part-time learning, right? You only have to put in half the effort, but that's not true, okay? Please be committed and come to the tutorial. It's going to be very important. 2 other questions. Do we have to hand in the worksheet? No, you do not have to hang in the worksheet. The study guide is for you to study, okay? Because in the recording, there's a lot of information, right? So people sometimes don't know what to focus on. So the worksheet is for you to focus on what you need to study, okay? And like I said, we will be taking it up together. What's the passing grade? Okay, so Carol asked, what's the passing grade for the course? The course is going to be, passing is 50%, okay? But you don't want to just get 50%. You want to get as high as possible, okay? I've been teaching at Centennial for 13 years, okay? And I can tell you, people who get 50% in the first semester, the second semester, they usually would fail, okay? It's a lot more difficult in the second semester compared to this one. So you want to do as well as you can, and then next semester, you will be prepared, okay? And I'm here to help, okay? Do seek out for help as early as possible if you're struggling, okay? Reach out, email me, and I will help you as much as I can. Someone said my name isn't coming on the screen. I don't know why. It's okay. Your name, I don't need to, like, if your Zoom name is not your actual name, that's okay. I'm not taking attendance, okay? So it's irrelevant. But you can change it, I believe, if you want. Will you give us hint for the test? Like I said, the tutorial, we will do practice questions, and then those questions are similar to what you expect on the test. Okay, so that way you will, you will have it. Now we have 35 students, perfect attendance. So that's excellent. Someone else just joined. Okay, so back to what I was saying, right? You don't have to. You don't have to worry about the extra stuff that you watch online, like these extra resources that you watch. If there are information that we have not covered, you're not responsible on the test. Also, textbook. There is an online textbook which I'll show you right now. Right, right here. I'm going to go back to the lecture folder. Right, study resources. Okay, 2 more things before the textbook. There is a crosswords that you can do. there are a lot of terms, right, in biology. So using these crosswords, it will help you memorize, some of the terms. So for example, here, something is a researcher's original report. Okay, so you can type in the answer, and if you don't know it, you can click like solve. Okay, so primary. Okay, and then here, a relationship between two variables. Anybody know what is it called? If there's a relationship between two variables, what's the correct answer for that? Anyone know? Yeah, correlation, right? Very good, Janila. Okay, and if you're not sure, you can again click solve. Okay, so that's just a way to help you practice. And very important is there is the scientific method self quiz. Okay, these self quizzes are not an accurate representation of the actual quiz or test. Okay, these tend to be easier questions. Okay, it just helps you make sure that you have the fundamentals. The actual quiz or actual test will be a little bit harder than what you see here. Nevertheless, these are good things to do just to see where you are at. Okay. Again, if you have questions, just keep typing them up on the chat box. I will answer them as soon as I can. All right, supplementary reading. There's a link that will take you to an online textbook. You do not have to purchase a textbook for this course. I figure it's like textbooks are very expensive, and you probably don't need to use it after the course anyways. So we will be using the online textbook. Like I said, most of the stuff I think is pretty self-explanatory. The PowerPoint usually explain things quite well, but some students want to have a textbook, right? So here it is. It's an online textbook. There might be some review questions that you want to do, but like I said, right, everything that we did not cover, and it's like extra stuff in the textbook, you're not responsible for. Okay. Is the test open only during class time? That is excellent question. I have to mention that. So first of all, two things, right? When are the quizzes? When are the tests? And then what actually is on the quiz? How do you prepare for it? So you can look at the weekly schedule. Remember I said at the beginning, you should download your weekly schedule. That's the first thing you should do. And you will see exactly when the tests are going to be. Okay, so the first quiz is going to be on the 24th, okay, and we probably will review a little bit, maybe on the 19th or something. We'll see if we have time, okay? And all the quizzes, it says right here at the bottom, all the quizzes and all the tests will be available from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Okay, so I understand, again, a lot of you have other commitments, right? Okay, like if you have to go to work early or whatever, you have the whole day to access the quiz. However, once you start the quiz, you will have to finish it. Okay. Usually the quiz is about 40 minutes, maybe 40 minutes long. I will tell you as we get closer to it. Okay, 40 minutes long. Tests, they are maybe like 60 to 70 minutes long. So once you start it, you will have to finish it within 40 minutes. I cannot start at 8 a.m., close the browser, and then continue later at noon or something. Okay, the timer does not stop even you close the browser. Okay, so you can start the quiz anytime during this period, but once you start it, you have to finish it. Okay, so Allison asked, will test cover your content from the video and the book? So once again, the test only covers things that are in my lecture recordings, okay, my PowerPoint slides, and whatever I said in the tutorial. Okay, so those are the three areas that you have to focus on when you study. Does everybody understand like how the quizzes are gonna be, like how to access it and stuff like that? Yeah. Okay. I will post the link to the quiz on the news item online when we get closer to it. So you just click on it and it will take you to it. Okay. Do we have to take our tests via? Yeah. So okay. So I don't use any kind of lockdown browser or any kind of monitoring tool. Okay. The quiz and the test are designed in a way that there will be time constraint. Okay. So you will not have time to, if you didn't study and you do the quiz or test, you won't have time to Google the answers. Okay, some questions maybe, okay, but then the quiz, some of the questions are designed in a way that you won't be able to do that. Okay, so I'm not too concerned about you looking up the answers or whatever. In fact, I recommend you having like maybe just like a cheat sheet or something, right? Write down some of the key stuff on a piece of paper, some things that are particularly hard that you can memorize, then you have that access. So you don't have to flip through your notes and find the answers and waste time that way. Okay, so it is open book. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you to close your book and do it. You're welcome to have your notes, but remember, the time constraint is the factor, right? Like you won't have time to find all the notes. So that's why I said having a cheat sheet or help sheet, whatever you want to call it, it's probably a better idea. Okay. Now, what kind of question do you expect on the test? There are basically 3 types of questions. Okay. You will have your standard. The whole thing is multiple choice. Okay. So you don't have to type any essay or whatever. Okay. So you're going to have to do your standard multiple choice questions. Okay. So there might be 5 choices, 6 choices, whatever. Okay. You choose the best answer. So most of the questions will be like that. And then there are going to be questions that are multi-select. Okay. Multi-select. Let me just write that out for you. Multi-select. Okay, so what that means is there will be more than one correct answers, and that's the stuff that mess with people, right? Okay, you have, in order to get full marks, you have to choose all the correct answers. Okay, and you will lose mark for choosing the wrong answers. Okay, so those questions are like 2 marks each. Okay, 2 marks each. Okay. And then there would be the third type of questions, which is like application questions. Application. Okay, so those are questions that are not straightforward. It's not like factual recollection. Okay, so what do I mean by that? For example, I'm totally making this up. Okay, so if I say which of the following molecule is a macromolecule? Okay, which of the following is a macromolecule? And then I say, carbohydrates, lipids, DNA, RNA, or whatever, polyester or something like that. Okay, so that's like a factual question, right? You just recall what you learned from class. So that would be your standard multiple choice question. The application questions would require you to apply what you have learned in a new situation in order to find the answer. Okay, so an example of that would be something like this. Okay, and we will do this on the tutorial. You don't have to copy it or do it right now. Okay, so I'll give you like a scenario, and then you would have to analyze the scenario and choose the answer. So there will be some application question like that. Okay, so for that reason, because the multi-select and the application questions, those are going to level the advantage that people get from the online environment, right? This is not something you can Google. You search this question online, you probably won't find it. And that's why I'm not using the lockdown browser or whatever. Does that answer your question? It was like a really long way of answering your question, but basically that's what it is. Okay. So, yep. You look at the calendar and then you will know when the synchronous sessions are. The synchronous sessions usually falls on Wednesday. I think there is one exception, and that is like on the 28th. Okay, that's when we will have the synchronous session because the test is going to be on Wednesday. Okay, so I'll remind you again. Okay, I'll remind you when we get closer to that day. At Centennial, we do have what we call like an engagement week. It's kind of equivalent to like a reading week where you have a week off, and that's going to be happening in February 20th. How many questions are usually in the quiz and test? I mean, it varies, but I will tell you that information when we get to it. I'll post an announcement. I'll tell you how many application questions to expect, how many multi-select to expect, and how many regular question to expect. Okay, I can't give you a definitive answer right now. I don't remember honestly, but usually the quiz is out of 30, right? And the test is out of 60. Okay. Yeah, I think I've covered most of the materials. Let me see if I missed anything. The labs, yes, let's go through the labs. I do have to go away in a bit because my daughters are home and the younger one does not know how to log on to her online learning. She's just in kindergarten, so I have to log on for her in in a few minutes, but I'll be back, okay, if we don't finish. So do apologize for that. Virtual labs, okay? So here, again, if you go back to the homepage, right? Homepage, you can go to content, okay? Content. And, you know, the virtual lab folder. Okay, so there are 2 labs that we'll do, the beetroot lab in the first half, and then the microscopy lab. So for the beetroot lab, you will watch a video. Okay, this is like someone who who've done the lab, you know, online, and then they recorded it. So we're basically going to watch the lab rather than doing it. I know it's not ideal, but you know, it is what it is. And then you're gonna click on this Word document. This is what you need to submit, right? Harshana asked, am I gonna be posting this? Yes, I'm gonna post this after. So if you join, if you miss some of the beginning stuff, don't worry, you can watch it later. So this is the Word document that you can download. Okay, you can click the download button, and then you will just type in the answer on your word processor, right? Okay, and then you will submit it to me. Okay, so the question says, what is the purpose of this experiment? And then you just type it here. What is the hypothesis? Right. So you basically watch the video that I was telling you about, and then you will answer all these questions, and then you will submit it. I will tell you how to submit the assignment when we get closer to it. Okay, and this is going to be like 10%. Okay, of your grade. It's a great way to boost your mark. Usually people do quite well on it. Although last semester people were struggling a little bit. I'm not quite sure why. But if you have trouble with it, right, let me know and I'll try to help you out. Okay. That's gonna be available. It's gonna be available right now. You can get a head start and do it if you want, but you won't be able to submit it until week 5. Okay. Someone asked, are you saying I'm going to find this lecture note in my, what do you mean lecture note? You mean like the recording of what I'm going right now? Like all these things I'm saying right now? Where are you going to find it afterwards? Okay. Yeah. I'll get to it in a second. Okay. I got to help my daughter log on for her stuff. I will be right back in about 5 minutes. So please don't go away. Maybe you can take a break. But I will be right back. I'm sorry about this. Okay, so yeah, week 5, you're gonna be able to do the lab, to hand in the lab. Again, you can start on it now if you want, okay? But you will hand it in week 5. And same thing for the microscopy lab. But I'll tell you more about the microscopy lab later on, because you actually have to use like an online simulation. Okay, so that is the lab. And where do you find the tutorial recordings? Okay, so I just want to be clear. There are 2 types of recordings, right? There are the lecture recordings, the one about the PowerPoint stuff, and that you can find under each of the lecture folders. Okay, so lecture 1, lecture recordings. If you go to the homepage, right, each week I will post the hyperlinks for you. Right, so you can just access them there. Download the PowerPoint slides. You can click on that, and it will take you directly to the PowerPoint slides. Watch all the lecture recordings. If I click on it, it will take you to the recording page. So you just watch part 1, part 2, part 3. These are all on YouTube's, right? So you can watch it on your phone or whatever. But I recommend you not just watching it. You have to have the PowerPoint slide and take notes as if you were doing this in class. That's very important. Okay. Now, the other type of recordings is the Wednesdays tutorial. Okay, so where do you find those? If you go down to like the original announcement, there is a link, okay, that says virtual tutorial, and you can click on that. That's probably the easiest way to find it, and it will take you to this document. Once you do it once, right, on your browser or whatever, just bookmark this. Okay, for example, I can bookmark it onto the computer here. So if I want to access it next time, I just click on the link. Okay, then you won't have to find it every time, right? So once again, you just go to the home page, scroll all the way down, click on the yellow button. Okay, if you cannot find it, let me know. You know what? In fact, I am going to, let me see if this is going to work. Yeah, I'm gonna post the link to the chat box right now. Okay, so you guys can click on it. Okay, so right now there's nothing there, right? Because we didn't have any recordings yet. So after class, I will post, I'll upload this onto YouTube, and then I'll put the link right here. Okay, and you will have access to it. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And I'm a pretty laid back person. Okay, you don't have to like worry. Like if you have any questions, please just reach out and ask me. If you need extra help, we can certainly work something out. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a good semester. Right now, after we hang up, right? If you have time, please go watch the recordings, and then I will see everyone again on Wednesday. Okay. If you have other questions, feel free to stay. Oh, there's one more thing. Sorry. If you have an IEP from high school, or if you require accommodations or something like that to get extra time on the test, you need to get registered with our college. And to do that, okay, I'm going to show you how to get that information. You can click on, again, content, useful information. Okay, so here you will again find the course outline. I did not go through the course outline. You can keep a copy in case you need it for the future. The weekly schedule I told you about, right? Here is the link to the tutorial recording, the link that I post on the chat box. And there's some frequent asked questions. There's the textbook. This is just how you can use eCentennial. There's a grade calculator. You don't need it right now, but later on in the course, if you're wondering, oh, what do I need on the final test in order to get a 80% or something, you can use a grade calculator to help you. The instruction on how to use it is here. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. And then this is another link. Okay, Centennial supports and services. You can click on that. And it's just a link to all the services that we have at Centennial. There's the library, resource, e-resources, so on and so forth. But this is the one that I want to bring your attention to. Okay, the Center for Accessible Learning and Counseling Services, or CALS. That's where you have to register yourself with if you require accommodations for your assessments. Okay, so if you need extra time or other forms of accommodation, you must get documentation from them and then email me those information. Okay, before I can give you accommodations. Okay, there are also free tutoring services that you are entitled to. So you can click on that and get more information. But again, right, if you need help, the first person you should find is me. Okay, and then if you need extra help beyond that, then you can access the tutoring. Okay, so that's it. Thanks once again. Thanks everybody for coming, and I will see you all on Wednesday, 8:30. Okay, have a fantastic day. Bye for now. What's my email? Okay, I'll type my email in the chat box again in case you missed it. Okay.